And I'm gonna add it up with the lamb meat that I have put aside here. And I'm really horrible with onions because they make me cry. So if you see me tearing up later, I do apologize. Because I'm very sensitive. Alright, so I still got my water boiling over here, so each time I clean up or take out most of the meat out of each bone, I'm gonna dunk it in there to get that whole process started. Alright, let me take out this cover real quick. One down and 2 more to go. So I like my stews really meaty. And I'm really interested about this recipe that I've got. For the people who just tuned in, I'm making a Game of Thrones inspired food, and it's mutton in an ale broth. It's inspired by a cookbook called A Feast of Ice and Fire by Monroe, Cassel, and Saraiann, Lehrer. What I'm doing right now is pretty much taking off most of the meat from the bones and putting them on my boiled water here. That way I can start the broth. I'm probably going to add a little bit more water later. That way, I'll get more broth on my stew. But like I said too, don't be afraid to get on the chat room and chat with me if you have any questions or whatever. Also, I like to point out I'm not a professional. I just love to cook. Like, I love feeding people. So, if and when we ever get a house and you become a close friend of mine, I'll be glad to invite you over and feed you. So, not really doing a good job like taking the meat out of these things. I probably need a really sharp knife, but this is what I've got right now. So. I'm not so worried about having too much meat on my bones. As I put it on the stew, it actually adds up to the flavor. So it's not so bad. I'm just going to turn up the heat right now for a little bit. Let the rest of those bones soak in. Okay, so, BoilerCon. So, yeah, so they have comic book artists that were there. Ben Miller is this really great writer who has a Kickstarter called Judges. He has less than a week to go till the Kickstarter's over. We actually saw him there, and he was representing Geeks and Gogo. He's wearing one of our shirts. This is really awesome. So yeah, we actually had a chance to talk to him and had dinner with him at one of the Irish restaurants out there, which is really good. And you'll find our interview of Ben Miller at our website. And we actually also have a YouTube video of his interview at our YouTube channel. So if you type in Geeks a Gogo, geeksagogo.com, you will find it right there. These things are really tricky. And like I said, I'm not going to make it perfect because they're really hard to take out. I mean, the meat's not necessarily room temperature, but it's warm enough for me to be able to cut through it. And the tissue's like all moist and stuff and soft, but it's just not coming out. But like I said, I'm not worried. It adds up to flavor, so I'm just gonna keep going here. This is a lot of neck bones, but that's what I really love about this because it's actually going to be really flavorful. Now, the longer this stuff boils in there, which I don't know what's going on. Like I have a fake oven, a fake stove right now, which sucks. So hopefully, when we get a house, get a real oven, and everything will cook a lot faster. So let's see here. Hey, how's it going? What are you up to tonight? Alright. That looks nasty. I'm gonna throw that out. Sorry. Alright. Um, so hopefully this thing picks back up. So, Mr. Sith, you're watching TV and watching this TV. So you're multitasking basically, right? I hope I'm making you hungry. Well, not this part, but maybe later on. Um, you'll start to get hungry. Man, this is really hard to take out. Told you guys, not professional. Just love to cook, so sorry about that. I'm gonna keep going anyway. Alright. How many more bones do I have left in here? Jeez. It's a lot of bones. Anyway, that's cool. As much as possible, I try not to cook with a lot of salt. Uh, it's just bad. I mean, plus, since weekend was just over, like we usually eat out on the weekends, which is not necessarily good either. So, um, there you go. Now, this stuff that I have boiling over here, I'm gonna let it boil for a little bit. And what happens is, well, I can't talk right now. Jeez, while it's boiling, there's some stuff that's gonna float on the top. I'm actually gonna scoop that out. Then after I scoop that out, you'll get a nice, super clean broth, and that's where all your flavor goes. So. Oh, for those of you who just tuned in, hi, my name's Monica. I'm from geeksgogo.com. I am making a dish inspired by Game of Thrones, and it's from a cookbook called A Feast of Ice and Fire, and it's by Chelsea Monroe Cassel and Saraiann Lehrer. Um, so if you're a vegetarian, unfortunately, I hate to say this, but I'm cooking mutton right now. So there's a lot of meat. And if you don't like onions, there is also a lot of onions. So I'm really sorry. Like I said before, too, I'm not a professional. I just love to cook. Absolutely love to cook. And I love to feed people. So if you become a close friend of mine, I might just invite you over for dinner. So, all right. Also, don't be afraid to chat. I have my chat box open. I know I'm dealing with a knife right now, but I'm just being really really careful, and I'll try to get back if if you have any questions or whatever. Um, so I didn't tell you guys a little bit of story behind what I'm making right now. So this dish is actually inspired by the North. And just to give you a little bit of background, if you're not really familiar with Game of Thrones, um, so the North is where the wall is, and that's pretty much their first defense against um, uh, all these like ice monsters that terrorize like the town back in the day. So one of my favorite characters, Jon Snow, will be found in the north, and unfortunately, last season, spoiler alert, he died. Right, guys. All right. So, um, so while I was reading the cookbook, they were saying that, oh, they're describing that in the north they were eating mutton um, on their daily meals. And quite honestly, like for them being up on the wall, they must have had plenty of lamb because around here in Chicago, it is so hard to find lamb. And plus, um, it's really expensive to buy the meat. So I don't know what's going on with my stove. It's not boiling, probably because there's a lot of stuff in there. But we're gonna keep cooking anyway. Like I said, you know, it will take a while for me to like finish stuff. Um, because I don't have a real kitchen, unfortunately. But hopefully that will change soon. So tell me how your weekend is, Kevin. It's a bit of a mess here. That's okay. I always try to keep my workstation clean. Alright, that is the last of the bones. So I'm just gonna have it. I keep splashing around here. I'm just gonna have it boil for a little bit until stuff like comes out. I'm pretty much just trying to make a clear broth right now. Oh, that's good news, Kevin. I'm really glad to find that out. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna go wash my hands since I was handling meat. I'm probably gonna wash this um, cutting board too. So just give me a couple of minutes. All right, I'll be right there shortly. I'm just gonna grab a towel and clear this out. All right. So there's a lot of stuff coming these next few weeks. I'm just gonna drain this real quick. There's gonna be the onions that I had earlier. Alright. So I love it how the skin's like a lot easier to take out now. You know what I should have done? I should have like taken the ends off. That way it will just like slide right off. I forgot to do that. Um so what I'm gonna do with the onions, I'm going to do something different because like from the recipe book, they basically said to just add everything onto the broth. Me, I like to saute my onions and have them like caramelized, as well as to have a really nice sear on my meat every time I make them. So I'm gonna go on ahead and after I'm done with this, um, hopefully the bones are nice and boiled and I have this really nice clear broth going. I don't know if you can see. You can see there's a little bit of stuff like forming at the top of the at the bones right now, or the broth. There's all this like cruddy looking stuff. I'm gonna take all of that out, and that way we'll have a clear broth. One way of doing it too, like I'm gonna be doing it with a spoon, but you can also use a cheesecloth if you want to use a cheesecloth for that. It'll work really well. Another thing that I might add to the stew as well is mushrooms because I absolutely love mushrooms. And it was on sale, so I bought way too many mushrooms. For those of you who just tuned in as well, you're gonna see that. So some of the ingredients are going to, yeah, that's right, Kitchen Demonica. That's right. So I'm gonna be like, so there's gonna be mutton or lamb. There's going to be pork neck bones in there. It's pearl onions, lager, or um,